शङ्करांश भूम शङ्करार्यपीठसद्गुरुन् शुद्धसत्त्वभासुरान् सुवर्त्मनीतभूसुरान् सर्वभूतसौख्यदान् क्षमाकरान् यतीश्वरान्
श्रीहरिं परमानन्दम् उपदेष्टारमीश्वरं व्यापकं सर्वलोकानां कारणं तं नमाम्यहम् अपरोक्षानुभूतिर्वै प्रोच्यते मोक्षसिद्धये सद्भिरेव प्रयत्नेन वीक्षणीया मुहुर्मुहुः. In the last class, we have seen the in the series of practices leading to Nididhyasanam, we have seen certain aspects, and in the last class, we had seen the Maunam, that is the greatness of Maunam. Maunam is observing silence, restraint of speech. So in the 109th shloka, it was stated that the physical speech restraint is not the ultimate Maunam, it is only a starting point, and through that, a person will be able to rise up to the true Maunam of restraining all thoughts also. So in this in the 110th shloka, we are going to see there is another aspect which is going to be said, that is called Desha. Desha is actually, literally, Desha means some space, some location. But here, that location, that word location is given a different philosophical meaning, and that is actually Brahman. So here in the shloka, we will read the shloka now. Adavante.
Adavante cha madhye cha jano yasminna vidyate yenedam satatam vyaptam sadesho vijanas smrutaha. Adav in the beginning, ante in the end, cha and madhye in the middle, cha as also, janaha people, yasmin in which, na not, vidyate exist, ena by which, idam this, sakalam all, vyaptam is pervaded, saha that, deshaha space, vijanaha solitude, smrutaha is known.
So Desha is Brahman actually, and in Brahman there is no place for any beings at all, that is any living beings at all, because all living beings are actually in truth Brahman alone. So living beings are all only appearances. So appearances can't be counted as real. So Brahman is that great entity, which is the substratum for all living beings also, and which is the source of all living beings also. And that source is the only secondless Brahman, where all the living beings are only Ajnana Kalpita. That is, a person becomes a living being only because he has wrongly considered himself to be a mind-body complex. So, this basic avidya, this basic fundamental ignorance is the one which is continuing in the person's every life. And ultimately, he gains knowledge, and through that, the cessation of the continuation or perpetuation of this embodied state will come to an end. But then all that is mithya in Vedanta. So Brahman is the sole entity which is always without any second. So all the living beings and other beings and the birds and all that are only mere appearances, and they can't be counted as second. Just like the superimposed snake can't be counted as second from the rope. So there's always only one object there. There are no two objects there, rope and snake. Snake can't be counted as second. So in this shloka, Adav ante cha madhye cha jano yasmin na vidyate. So in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, no persons, no individuals can be located in that Brahman. Yena idam satatam vyaptam. So Yena idam satatam vyaptam means that which is pervading everything in creation, that is deshaha, vijanaha, smritaha. So that is the actual location or place which is free from all beings. See, this sloka is also very, very symbolic in nature, because in the Gita, for example, in the Gita, it is prescribed that a person vivikta desha sevi. So vivikta desha sevi means a person has to go to a secluded spot to practice spiritual dhyanam and all that. So there it is a physical secluded spot, whereas here the meaning is a kind of it transcends that meaning also. So it transcends all that physical spots and all that. So this is purely Brahman, where no, it is purely silence. So that silence aspect we saw in the earlier shlokas, it is Maunam, where we saw Brahman is silence purely. So in here, there is no intervention of any being at all, because this Brahman is secondless Advitiya Brahman, where nothing can really exist. So all existences in Brahman are really falsely superimposed there. So really no existence can be, nothing it can exist in Brahman. So that way Brahman is always alone. So here in the commentary, the Acharya says, Atra janasya traikalika abhavaha anubhavikaha swapratitya jneyaha. So here in this desha, that is Brahman, the absence of all beings, whether it is Jada or Chetana, everything is only seeming there in Brahman. So with that thought, a person can enter into the contemplation of Brahman, where even if he is surrounded by so many objects and surrounded by so many people, if he is able to give his mind to this Brahman with the contemplation that it is free of any beings at all totally, then also his even then his contemplation will bear fruit. So that will be real contemplation. So idanim atra janasya traikalika abhavaha anubhavikaha swapratitya jneyaha. So here the commentary gives a very good suggestion that a person has to experience this. That is, he has to bring in the thought consciously that in this Brahman, there can't be any beings, any other extra, a foreign material can't be there at all. So this anything other than Brahman can't be there in this Brahman. So this is what is the real desha, which is Vijana Pradesha. What is stated in the Gita, Vivikta Desha Svevitvam and Vijanaha, all these things are there also. So there Bhagavad Pada says that this place, a person has to seek a place where even then it is, even though it is said that it is free, it has to be free from people and all that. Bhagavad Pada says that a place where people are there who are conducive to this kind of contemplation, that is satsanga. That is also a good place for contemplation. So it may not be a good place for dhyanam, but still it is a good place for, which is conducive for dhyanam. That is why even temples are prescribed. It is not that always, at all times, there will be noise in the temple. There can be some place in some corner or some place in the temple which can be relatively very, very quiet and free from intervention of other people and all that. So even those places will be conducive for meditation. But here in this shloka, it is taking a completely different turn altogether. That desha is, see, here also a person has to seek some place for meditation. But here this Acharya says that that place is nothing but Brahman itself. So that Brahman is the place where you have to go. You have to keep going to that place every time you want to engage in contemplation. So that place is nothing other than your own true self. So that's why he says, Anubhavikaha, one has to bring that thought through experience. Swapratitya jneyaha, natu laukika shastriya pratitibhyam. So he says that this Brahman, which is called place here or location here, will not be the meaning given in the worldly sense, or not even in the Shastriya sense. Because in the Shastriya sense, what happens is, it will give a very clean place, or a very, it will prescribe a very, a place which is with certain conditions and all that. But Laukika people, for them, any place is a place only. So they won't discriminate between a good place or a conducive place and an ordinary place and a disturbing place and all that. So Laukika Pramana is ruled out. If we think of the Shastriya Pramana, there also Shastriya Pramana will give some do's and don'ts and all that. And so if it will prescribe some parameters and all that, and if that place satisfies those parameters, you will select the place and go there. But here he says, even greater than the Laukika Pramana and even greater than the Shastriya Pramana, this Anubhava Pramana is very, very supreme. So that is why he says Anubhavikaha. So one has to take this by experience and contemplate on Brahman with this thought that Brahman is one where nothing real can exist in Brahman. So everything that can exist, that appears to exist in Brahman is only unreal or only superimposed. So, Adau Antecha Madhyecha Yasmin na Vidyate Yena Idam Satatam Vyaptam Sa Deshaha Vijanasprataha. So in this first line, he says, Adau Ante Madhyecha. So these three periods of time, which is stated there, also has got a very great significance, which the commentary hints at. Traikalika Abhavaha. So this Traikalika Abhavaha, this word, this term is very, very important in Advaita, because in Advaita Siddhi of Madhusudana Saraswati, the world has been demonstrated to be absent in Brahman, or abhava of world in Brahman, in all the three periods. So for this, we can take the example of the rope snake also. So the snake that is being superimposed on the rope is not there in the locus rope in all the three periods of time. So a person, actually he contacts the rope only through his eyes, but then because of dull, insufficient light or some confusion in his mind, he doesn't grasp it as rope, but then he superimposes a snake there. In the sense, he thinks that there is a snake there. But then, really, even when he's, before he got this snake Brahma there was no snake there in that locus. And during the time also that he is having this Brahma snake illusion, then also the snake is not there really in that locus. And after this illusion has gone, then also the snake is not there in that locus at all. So in all the three periods of time, a snake can't be in the locus rope. A snake can exist in some other locus, like it's a snake pit or a zoo or some park or whatever, or in a garden or in a forest or whatever. That is not the point here. So the snake does not exist in the locus rope. So in all the three periods, so Traikalika Abhavaha. So in the same way, the world also does not exist in Brahman in all the three periods of time. It is only a superimposition. So this Traikalika Abhavaha has been stated in the sloka like Adau Ante Madhyecha, in all three periods of time. Jana. So Jana, we can take this Jana as to be a Upalakshana, that is symbolic or representative for everything in creation. That is Chara, Achara and all that. Everything is represented by the word Jana here. Okay, next shloka. Kalanat.
Kalanat sarvabhutanam brahmadinam nimeshataha kala shabdena nirdishto hyakandanandako dvayaha. Kalanat, on account of producing, sarvabhutanam, of all beings, brahmadinam, beginning with Brahma, nimeshataha, in the twinkling of an eye, kala shabdena nirdishtaha, is denoted by the term kala. He verily, akhandanandakaha, one undivided bliss, advayaha, non-dual.
So here in this shloka, the aspect of kala has been stated. For meditation in the Shastra, just like a time is prescribed, just like an ideal place is prescribed, an ideal time also is prescribed, like early morning, Brahma Muhurta, Brahmi Muhurta, and the evening sunset and all that. So that 2 times of Sandhya and all that, they're all very conducive for meditation. So here that Kala aspect is found in Yoga Shastra or in Vedanta Shastra also for meditation. But here that word Kala is taking a different meaning altogether. Kalanat Sarvabhutanam Brahmadinam Nimeshataha Kala Shabdena Nirdishtaha Yakandananda Advayaha. So here also the Kala, the word Kala, that is literally time, it takes the meaning of Brahman. Kalanat Sarvabhutanam Brahmadinam Nimeshataha. That is the creation, the creation which consists of Brahma, that is the 4-faced Chaturmukha Brahma, who is admitted to be the most exalted Jiva, and the very, very microscopic organisms, Brahmadi Stambapariyantanam. So Brahmadinam, Nimeshataha Kalanat, Sarvabhutanam, all the beings in the creation, they are created in just a second or in just a nanosecond. It can be even the very shortest span of time. At that time, during that, it takes only so much time for the creation of all this for Brahman. But then in the sense that if Brahman is said to be the creator of the whole thing, whole creation, it happens in only in the winking of the eye. So Kalanat Sarvabhutanam Brahmadinam Nimeshaha. So that's why this Nimesha is a small, very, very small period of time, unit of time. But then this Nimesha is also a word used for the closing of the eyelid. Opening of the eyelid is Unmesha. Closing of the eyelid is Nimesha. That's why in the Lalita Sahasranama we have got a name. Unmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavali. So that is the name, one name for Devi Lalita. So when she closes the eyelids, the entire the cosmos, the many cosmoses are there. So we think of only one cosmos, but then there it says Unmesha Nimisha Utpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavali. Avali means a series of cosmos. So many cosmoses they come into being when she opens the eyes, and they lapse into her when she closes the eyes. So Unmesha Nimishotpanna. But here the Nimesha means it's a very, very short period of time. So in that period of time, lot of the entire creation takes place. Kala Shabdena Nirdishtaha Akandananda Advayaha. So in this Brahman, this creation takes place very quickly, and it also lapses very quickly. So this is the idea here conveyed. And that Brahman is what is meant by this word Kala. So when if somebody says that there is a very ideal time for contemplation, what is ideal here is Brahman is the ideal for contemplation. So Brahman is existing always. So anytime you can enter into Brahman for contemplation. So in this level, that the ideal time prescribed in the Shastra and all that will be transcended. So here that is what it is stated here. That is why it is said that there is a very fine shloka. Dadyan na avasaram kinchit kamadinam managapi asupter amrite kalaha nayet Vedanta chintaya. So that shloka says that one should not give rise to non-Brahman thought even for a moment. From the waking, the whole of waking time he has to spend in this only, and that too, and also till the death. So in all his waking hours, he has to be in Brahman contemplation only, without giving room for any of the things that are detrimental to this. So asupte ramrte kalam nayed Vedanta chintaya. So there is a shloka. Dhyan navasaram kinchite kamadina managapi. Never ever give room for non-Brahman or thoughts that are not detrimental to Brahman contemplation. So anytime, every time, always one has to be in this thought. So that is the idea. So Kala means here this Brahman alone. So Nimeshataha in the commentary, the Acharya says Nimeshataha Arabhya Kalanat Sargasthiti Pralaya Adharatvat Ityartaha. So this here he is giving a meaning that Nimesha is a very, very small unit of time. So from that that is the smallest unit of time, if we take as Nimesha till the Srishti Sthiti Laya. So in the Puranas and all, this Srishti Sthiti Laya, it is given very, very long span of time, like Yuga, Kalpa and all that, Kalpa Koti and all that. So there are even more gradations or calculations for that, which are very, some of them are very complex also. But then the common time span given is Kala, Kalpa and all that. So here, that's why we have in this Panchadashi also very nice shloka. Gatagamye Shvanekada Anna Nodeti Nastametyeka Sambidesha Swayam Prabha. So Masa Abda Yuga Kalpeshu Gatagamye Shvanekada Nodeti Nastametyeka Sambidesha Swayam Prabha. So here, there, after determining what happens in one waking time, the waking day, where so many kinds of perceptions have taken place, and what happens in the night and in the dream, in all these three periods, the conscious, the entity, the jiva, who is a conscious entity, his true nature of Atman, that doesn't subside at all at any time in the whole day, in a one full day, whether it is waking or dream or deep sleep, that entity is there. But then the waking, dream, and deep sleep, these three states, they are there for some time, but they are not there in other states. So when there is waking, the other two states are not there. When it is dream, the other two states are not there. And when it is sleep, the other two states are not there. But then this Atman is never going out of existence. After determining that, he says that this is what happens in one day. So you extend it to one masa, that is one whole month, and then extend it to one whole year, and then to a century and a kalpa and a yuga and kalpa and all that. In all this time, this Atman doesn't subside at all. It is always there, whereas the other things, they appear and disappear. So what appears and disappears is really not there at all, which is mithya, whereas Atman alone is satyam. So he says, masa abda yuga kalpeshu gatagamyeshu. He says, all the masa abda yuga kalpa, the time which has gone away, and all the time which is going to yet to come. So in all these three periods, the Atman will never ever subside, or it will never ever rise. So there is no rising and subsiding for Atman. It is always ever existing. Gatagamyesh vanekada na udeti na astameti. There is no udaya and astamana for Atman. That is called samvit. Samvit is pure consciousness. That is our true nature. So here, from Nimesha onwards up to the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya and all that, it is one Brahman alone that exists. So here also that theme comes. So Brahman alone exists, and that Brahman should be contemplated as that, or Kala has to be given this meaning and contemplate on Brahman. So Kalanat Sarvabhutanam Brahmadinam Nimeshataha Kala Shabdena Nirdishtaha Hi Akandananda Advayaha. So Akandananda means infinite bliss. So this Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, Sachidananda Brahma. So this Advayaha. So he has given the Swarupa Lakshanam as Sakandananda, and Advayaha is another Lakshana for that. Advaya means it is without any second. It is one alone without any second. Next, Tiraraga.
Sukhenaiva bhaved yasmin ajasram brahma chintanam asanam tadvijaniyad netarat sukhanashanam. Sukhena, easily, eva, verily, bhaved becomes, yasmin, in which, ajasram, unbroken, brahma chintanam, meditation upon the truth, asanam, right posture, tat, that, vijaniyat, should be understood, na, not, itarat, any other, sukhanashanam, destroying comfort.
So in the when we think of meditation, definitely this asanam is a posture, a convenient posture. Sthira Sukham asanam is the Patanjali sutra for that. A person has to settle down on a firm asana, which should not be shaky and all that. And also it should be convenient for him, comfortable for him. So Sthira Sukham asanam. So that is the asanam prescribed in Yoga Shastra. So here the asanam is nothing but Brahman itself. So one has to posit oneself or posture oneself in Brahman. One has to take a grand seat in Brahman. So this is what is a firm seat in Brahman. And it is also Sukham. So Sukhenaiva bhaved yasmin ajasram brahmachintanam. Ajasram means always, continuously brahmachintanam has to be there. Sukhenaiva bhaved. So here literally the sloka will mean, if you sit in this asanam, your brahmachintanam will be very, very easy going. But then the meaning is Brahman itself is that asanam. So Sukhenaiva bhaved yasmin ajasram brahmachintanam asanam tad vijaniyat na itarat sukha nashanam. So anything other than Brahman will be definitely sukha nashanam, whereas Brahman is sukha swarupam. So if a person takes a position in Brahman, he will be always blissful. Whereas if he leaves that position and gives some other room for some other abrahma chintanam, then that sukha will be destroyed. So there is a little meaning of this sloka. In the commentary, the Acharya says, asanam lakshayati sukhenaiva iti. Yasmin sukhe sukharupe brahmani chintanam kartavya akartavya chinta naiva bhaved tad brahma asanam vijaniyat iti anvayah. So here he says, in all the other states, a person can think of what is to be done, what is not to be done, all these things, do's and don'ts and all that will be occupying his mind in other occasions. Whereas here, even that is not there, because this Brahman is something which is beyond dharma also. So in dharma only, adharma and dharma, this choice has to be there, will be there. Whereas Brahman is beyond dharma. So here, it is so only a person who has gone beyond dharma will be in moksha. In the sense, he has prepared himself so very nicely through dharma only, but then now he is qualified for Brahman, that is Jnana Yoga. That is why Karma Yoga is dharma, whereas Jnana Yoga is beyond dharma. That is why even in Gita also, in the 6th chapter, Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate Yogarudasya Tasyaiva Shamak Karanam Uchyate. So for a person who is intending to rise to the stage of contemplation or dhyana or meditation, for him karma is what is conducive, what is important for him. In the sense, karma is the one which will give him the required chitta shuddhi and all that, and to attain the state of meditation. So Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate, whereas once he has reached the stage of meditation, for him, karma will drop off. For him, shamak karanam uchyate, that is quietude, silence, freedom from all action. That is what is characterized by, his yoga state is characterized by these things. So there is a state between, that is a pre-yoga state and post-yoga state. So here in this shloka, that he says in the commentary, kartavya akartavya chinta naiva bhaved. So whether I should do this or not do this, so all this will pertain to karma stage only. So he has to rise above that and be in Brahman, where even this chinta is not there for him. Bhavet tad brahma asanam tad brahma asanam vijaniyat. So that Brahman where this karma and all that has dropped off, that is called the real asanam. That is where we have to posit ourselves, or that is where we have to take a posture. Vijaniyat ityanmeha. Kidrusham brahma ajasram kalatraya avasthayi ityartaha. So here, this ajasram is taken as an adjective for Brahman, not as an adverb. So an adverb will qualify the action. So if I say that I'm always thinking of Brahman, then this is ajasram. In that famous shloka, Bhaje Sharadambam Ajasram Madamba. So I worship that Sharadamba always, Ajasram Madamba. Whereas here, there it is Kriya Padam, that is a Kriya Visheshana, whereas here it is just Visheshana. So here it is adjective. So Brahman is Ajasram. Brahman is always. That means the word Ajasram literally means always or continuous. It is an abhyaya. So Kalatraya Avasthayi Ityartaha. Brahman is what is in the past, present, future. These time partitions are this thing is not there in Brahman at all. So Brahman is beyond time. So Kalatraya Avasthayi Ityartaha. So in this Brahman alone, if a person takes a posture, he will be always blissful. Whereas if he gives his mind to something else other than Brahman, that blissful thought, that bliss will can't be experienced, because everything other than Brahman, there will be always the problem of sukha coming for some time, and then it is followed by dukkha. So that sukha and dukkha will be always alternating. Whereas here, that is not there. It is beyond sukha and dukkha. So that is what is emphasized by this shloka as sukhahi. So with this we will Sukhenaiva bhaved yasmin ajasram brahmachintanam asanam tad vijaniyat na itarat sukha nashanam. Sriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham Aparokṣānubhūti Prochyate Mokṣasiddhaye Sadbhireva Prayatnena Vikshaniya Muhurmuhu Shastram Sharirami-mamsa Devastu Parameshwaraha Acharya Shankaracharya Santume Janmajanmani Vidya Vinay Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tatvajnam Vidushekhara Bharatim. Om.